Hi, boys and girls. Sharing a slightly different video with you today. It's about writing and planning our first article. And we're going to be using this graphic organizer as one of the tools to help us plan our pieces. There's lots of different planning tools out there, but I find this one to be really useful and really fun to use. And it allows us to have some flexibility in the way we plan our articles. So this is called a Foursquare. Now you can probably tell because it has one, two, three, four squares or rectangles that kind of make up the space. And Foursquare planning can be used in a lot of different ways. We have a Foursquare for our whole article. We also have a Foursquare set up for individual paragraphs. And I'm going to share that with you in another video for another time. But today I'm going to share with you a Foursquare planning sheet and how to use it to help us write our articles and plan the whole article. So there's a lot of different little symbols and things in here that we might not be familiar with. And I'm going to create a little document that kind of gives us a sort of guide to using this. But for now, I'm going to tell you a little video or through the video kind of what we're going to be thinking about putting where. Okay, so our main topic is something that is going to be, I'll put it right up here at the top. I might even actually make a little space for you for that, but our topic is going to go here. And the topic is really what the whole story is going to be all about, right? And so my topic for the first article that I'm going to write, you may have guessed it from this tab, pizza. This is one of my homemade pizzas. I love to make pizza. I make it in a lot of different ways, but I started making my own dough, making my own sauce, cheese, and I love to cook it myself. So this is one of my pizzas from this summer with the boys. And this is another one that has a little more fancy toppings on it. It has basil and some different cured meats. Super yummy. And I have some old pictures from me and the boys making pizza before. I might have to make some updated ones for my new article because this is a new article. It's not going to be something from a couple of years ago anymore. All right. And so I had some pictures of them helping me make the pizza and putting it in the oven. And that was another pizza that we made. So it's something that we love to do and something that I love to eat. Right. So that's something that we're going to be thinking about for my pizza article. Now, that's not going to be my title. I'm going to tell you that right now. We're going to think about titles later, but this is going to be my topic. And I'm going to make it a little bigger because this is my main topic. I'm going to put it right here. I don't need to see pizza. Oh, no. All right, so pizza. That's our topic. Okay, so the next thing we need to think about are going to be the subtopics, the different categories for our article. You may have been noticing the National Geographics that there's lots of different sections that have little headings that go along the top, and it's about the different things that are the big categories that help you explain the whole article, right? And articles are all about informing people. So I'm going to try to inform people about pizza making. Okay, so one of my topics is going to be the dough. Making the dough is actually a really important part to making pizza. Another topic is going to be the toppings, right? And I could also include the sauce as well, because it's kind of part of the topping. So I might include both of those together, but that's a pretty big category. And this is probably going to be a pretty big section of my piece. And then a third topic could be the actually like putting it all together, like the making or the cooking of the pizza. So, you know, say, yeah, putting it all, come on, there we go. So, three big topics. All right. Now, we can get into some really, really specific details about each of these topics, but this planning sheet is really going to help us just sort of plan out the bigger sort of ideas. But we want to have some details listed. We don't need to write whole sentences here. We're going to be writing some quick ideas to kind of just get our, sort of thoughts moving. Okay. And so we see these little lines here. These lines are going to be telling us about the different details, or at least helping us think of details. We should have at least three details for every article. And then this little circle here, and I'm going to give you a little sneak preview on the paragraph. So this one section here is really a section of your article, and it's really a paragraph, a body paragraph to our article. Okay. So this section here is all about the dough. And so we're going to have at least three details that relate to the dough. And then this circle is going to be another special kind of detail. And that one is called elaboration, our elaboration detail, where we pick a detail and elaborate, write more about it. And that's going to be what we include in our little paragraph. And we think about picking one of the details that we already wrote and saying some more and writing some more. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. So, dough. What could we say about the dough, right? Um, we want to have some specific little details here. So, we're going to be using flour. And we can mention that we want to have maybe special 00 flour or all-purpose flour. We also want to have water, and it needs to be a specific temperature. Temperature. There we go. And then we also need yeast. And the yeast helps the dough rise, right? So now there's some other things like salt or maybe even things like honey, things like that. So I can also mention that too as some of my details, including in what my recipe and what my ingredients would be and how the process is going to be to put it all together. Um, but I'm also going to elaborate on this. And I'm going to say that some folks even use sourdough starter to help them make their dough. So some people even do a special kind of dough. Doesn't need yeast. It uses a special kind of leavening process that's known as sourdough. So we can talk about that in the article. Anyway, our others paragraph about toppings. What toppings go on a pizza? Well, we definitely want the sauce, right? And pizza sauce is different than sauce that you'd put maybe on pasta or whatever, like a marinara. We actually want to use sometimes just crushed tomatoes or maybe just a lightly cooked sauce. It's a little bit different, so I'll explain that. And then we can get into the toppings like mozzarella and the different cheese. I don't even say cheese, right? And mozzarella is the most common one, but there's other types, other kinds too, right? And then we can get into the fun ingredients. And that is up to you, right? And up to anyone. That's the great thing about making pizza is that it can have any types of toppings. Sauce and cheese are kind of the starting spot, but then we can get into some really fun things. Different veggies or meats or whatever, right? Um, and then I could even say, elaborate, and I can say, some people even, um, put things that are really unique, like butternut squash or um, pineapple or whatever it might be. So I'm going to think about what I'm going to elaborate on here for that later. Now, putting it all together, this involves the process, right? So stretching the dough and um, putting on the sauce, layering the toppings, and I would say even another detail would be um, something about oven temperature and um, maybe how much time it needs to cook. So there's lots of different details that I can include in that section too. So I've got at least three. I've got actually four or five. So we want to definitely think about having at least three, and then think about ways we can elaborate. Now, we can say, you know, some people use their own oven, and sometimes they might even um, make pizza on the grill. Go outside and make it on the grill, or maybe they have even special pizza ovens that they take outside. So that's sort of fun too. Now, you may have noticed I skipped a couple sections. One section is the lead, and it's kind of hiding here. I'm going to slide it over just for a second. Our lead is our opening paragraph or opening section to a piece. It's what hooks our reader in. And there's lots of ways to write a good lead for an article. And we're going to have a whole discussion about that separately. But what I can do here is at least jot down some ideas. Maybe I might want to tell a story, or maybe share an interesting fact in my lead, maybe a combination of those things. And then the ending is where I want to pull this whole story together and think about, how am I going to end this piece and leave my reader feeling excited about pizza. So I'm going to need to think about that conclusion as well, and maybe refresh our readers' memories about the different topics. So I'm going to kind of restate the big ideas, and I'm also going to try to wrap up the piece somehow. So I'm going to leave that part a little bit open. But this is the beginning of my article on pizza. And I'd like you to start thinking about your first article. What's going to be some topic that you want to inform your reader on? Something that you have a lot of passion about. Something that you can write a lot of from here. You may want to do a little research and look some things up to help you improve your writing. But a lot of it's still going to be coming from here, and from here in our passion about whatever article that we're writing on. So that's why I have some things kind of left here that I might want to tweak. I might want to find out maybe an interesting fact, like, where did the first pizza um, where was it made or when. I might share an interesting fact about some of the best pizza places in the world, or how much pizza is consumed every year. I don't know. We're gonna have to look that up and maybe play around with that. But this is where we start our articles. It's where we start our plan. We start to put it together. Now, you might be saying, but I have more than 3 sections to write. I have lots of sections. I noticed in my National Geographic there were many headings and many sections. You can do that. Just make another copy of this sheet. Okay. We're going to have plenty of these. And what I'd like you to do anytime you want to start a new article is access this sheet from our classwork tab in writing resources. And we are going to just copy it each time we want to do a new one. Okay, so that's going to be there for you to do that. You open it up, you make a copy, and then you can start adding and working. Now, do you want to do it on paper? Sure, you could do that too. This is something that we can use through Kami, and it gives you an option for that too. Okay, all right, so look for a video about this planning sheet and paragraphs sometime soon. What I'd like you to do now, though, is start thinking about what your first topic's going to be and some of the big sections that you're going to include in your piece. What are they going to be? And then some of the details that might help you write that section or each of them. Okay, and that's where we're going to go with our first article. All right, so we are going to be doing this in school as well as out. So I want you to be able to be flexible and try to go back and forth. And we're definitely going to do a lot of checking in with me, and I'm going to try to check in with you as much as possible with this too. All right, have fun.